Hello, fellow beings of light, and welcome to not only episode 23 of our podcast, but to our summer energy update. That means I'm going to be giving you a sneak peek into our themes for the months of July, August, and September, as well as some updates on what we've been up to behind the scenes over the last, let's say, 2 months. Because over the last 2 months, I've stepped back a lot. There have been less podcast episodes and activations. I've taken more than a few mini breaks to work on offering development. And I've also taken quite a bit of time to just spend being human. But there's also been a lot of reflection, mixed with a bit of receiving, of course, and a whole lot of expansion and upgrades when it comes to my personal journey and to our offerings. A lot of that coming out of my retreat in Mount Shasta over the summer solstice weekend last month. Whew, that was a trip, and not just in the travel sense of the word. It was a bringing together of everything that has been coming through over the last 9 to 12 months for me. But it was also a release of some pretty massive and heavy things. And I think that's where we're going to start off today, before we get into the themes and some exciting things that are going on with our offerings, because I think it's important to share how my own journey is unfolding, to not just serve as an example, but to serve as a very important reminder that even though it may seem at times like others that you watch or listen to online or through social media, that you take courses from maybe, are further along or have already finished in their journey, that couldn't be further from the truth. Each of our personal journeys is an infinite process. It doesn't end. It's not meant to. We are always experiencing, learning, and growing, shifting with the world and universe around us, going with the flow of the cycles. And the whole every ending is a new beginning thing. Personally, I have very much been in a 0 point and higher frequency state, probably since February or March. And that is huge. That is a massive upgrade in my journey and in my energetic field and consciousness. But that doesn't mean that I don't have bad days or weeks, that I don't struggle in my journey, that I can't fall back into old habits or thought patterns, or that I can't get stuck. Believe me, I spent most of April and May being just that. Yes, I was 0 point and high frequency during those months, but I was also very, very stuck. Why was I stuck? Well, this roller coaster of receiving, expanding, and upgrading I've been on in the last year, it has brought me to the point of reconverging with my galactic monad, Archangel Sophiel, unlocking my oversoul consciousness with the 5 fellow soul aspects to separate from her and reawakening her from her inertia state galactically. And even before that happened, to the point of slowly but surely receiving and putting together what her beyond massive purpose and mission is galactically and when it comes to Earth. When it comes to her role in restoring true oneness as the pillar of sovereignty, the seat or throne of Andromeda, when it comes to balancing that pillar of sovereignty with her twin flame and counterpart, Archangel Christiel, the pillar of unity, the seat or throne of Lyra. When it comes to repairing the separation and resulting wounds between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and each and every archangel, galactic race, being of light, and more that descended from each of them, to the balance that both Sophiel and Christiel will bring, being a bridge that restores true oneness across all of them, reconnecting us all in a way that allows us to be both united as one and sovereign individuals and races at the same time. One no longer meaning the loss of the other. That's a lot for one person to hold. Or rather, it is a lot for one human to hold. And that is exactly what I have been increasingly doing over the course of this year. As everything has been coming through, has been being shared with me so I could understand and share, I've been trying to hold all of it. I've put the weight of it all, the responsibility of it all, onto my shoulders. And I have done so when I was never meant to. The purpose, the mission I just described, that is Archangel Sophiel's purpose and mission. That is my galactic monad's purpose and mission. It is not mine, not fully anyway. My soul is a 1/6 fragment of Sophiel's 4D to 9D energetic body and consciousness. It is the 9D fragment, the unity, innocence, and hope piece. The heart piece, as she has shared with me. P.S. There are a lot of us 9D fragments experiencing our very first incarnation on Earth right now. And if that sounds or feels like you, totally hit me up. We have tea to spill and work to do. Let's get back on track. My soul, more importantly, contains a 1/6 fragment of Sophiel's purpose and her mission. Not the whole damn thing, which is probably something I should have realized one of the many, many times that I asked myself, how the heck am I meant to do all of this? But I didn't. And that is because I wasn't asking myself that question because I thought it was too much or because I thought that I couldn't handle it alone, but rather because I didn't feel worthy of such an immense purpose and mission. Yep, you heard me right. Despite the higher frequency, all the expansion and upgrades, all the steps forward in my personal journey that I have taken, I've realized that I'm still struggling with feeling unworthy. despite the fact that I know, like really know, that's not true. Despite the fact that I trust, like really trust, that's not true. That I am worthy. Which, by the way, is the perfect example of the difference between learning, knowing, experiencing, or receiving something and actually embodying it. We're going to circle back around to that, but I just wanted to point it out here and plant that seed. The awareness that I was feeling unworthy and the realization that I'm not meant to carry all of my monads, Sophiel's purpose and mission. Those are things that came to me during my retreat and time on Mount Shasta. There, I was called out, confronted by my 4 core guides that have surrounded me since I was a child. They told me to stop resisting my strength, to stop resisting my power, to stop thinking that I'm not worthy to hold it, to wield it, to share it with Earth and the universe. Now, I'm me, so of course, I tried to argue with them. But it's so much. The purpose, the mission, everything I've been receiving. You've been watching me my whole life, right? Have you seen me? Do you know me? I can't do all of it. Their response to that, you aren't meant to. That's it. Nothing else. And then there's me, arguing again. What does that even mean? Of course I'm meant to. How else is it all going to get done? Oh boy. Someone somewhere is thinking magic, like time magic and trusting the universe magic while they are listening to this. I can hear it while I'm sitting here recording it, and I'm laughing. Both because it's funny and because that's totally not the answer. Not gonna lie though, it was definitely an answer my sarcastic ass was thinking at the time I was receiving that message though, along with something along the lines of like going with the flow of those things has been working out so well for me when it comes to the purpose and mission so far. It wasn't, because it wasn't meant to. I just wasn't getting it, but I did get it. A bit later that same day, when I was confronted by Sophiel herself and the other 5 fragments of her, my 5 fellow soul aspects, to separate from her. The short, abridged version of what I received during that experience. This is my purpose and mission. Our purpose and mission to fulfill, little one, not yours. You have your role to play, your part, your fragment, just like the other 5 do. You are not alone in fulfilling it. I am not alone in fulfilling it. We are fulfilling it together. Focus on your role, your part, your fragment, and let us focus on ours. And together, it will get done. If that's not a textbook oversoul consciousness function, guys, I don't know what is. And I did unlock my oversoul when I reawakened Sophiel. And After my experiences in Shasta, I got the message loud and clear of what that means now. And I'm beyond grateful for both things. But I bet you're wondering, did I argue with her, with Sophielle, like I did with my other guides? Nope. There was just this external, oh, and probably a very big internal, duh. And that's because everything she said to me, the second she said it, it just was for me and for all of her fragments. It was a beautiful moment, a moment that took a universe worth of weight off my shoulders in an instant, that freed my mind and my energy up to focus on and do what I was meant to be doing in an instant, that let go of everything else, including that unworthiness, in an instant. In the 2 weeks since that retreat, that time on Mount Shasta, I've had a lot of time to sit with and process all of that, to first try and mostly fail at trying to figure out where that knowledge leaves me in my journey and with what I'm meant to share and offer all of you. Then to ask the team, which is what I should have done in the first place. But hey, I'm human, and parts of me hadn't quite caught up yet from the whole lot of stuck they'd spent 2 months being, which circles us back to that seed I planted earlier. The difference between learning, knowing, experiencing, or receiving something and embodying it. Something we all struggle with, whether we realize it or not. And whether you are ready or not, now is the time to start realizing it. Because right now and on through the rest of the year is when the universe is looking to you to step your ass up and start embodying some shit. Especially when it comes to this year and everything that is coming through collectively. Why? If you caught our 6/6 portal activation, episode 22 and or our summer solstice activation, then you know we got into the 6th month being not only a midway point when it comes to the year and what we have been receiving and experiencing in our journey, but also a quantum pivot point, a point where everything that we have been receiving comes to a culmination on the 6/6 portal and then enters a 2-week pause and reset between it and the summer solstice, when we are then ushered into the next phase, a phase of stepping into and embodying all that we have received. The time for us to start practicing and living, taking action steps with what we have been receiving. I can't speak for all of you, but I am definitely there. This time around, this year, I realized it. This time around, this year, my ass is ready to start embodying some shit. Which brings us to the next part of this episode, getting into what I am embodying when it comes to my individual purpose and missions, my fragment, and how that impacts our offerings and this podcast and our activations moving forward in the next 3 months and beyond, because I think a lot has changed, or rather, a lot has shifted in small ways, or been filled in maybe. But thankfully, for once, it doesn't feel overwhelming because the weight is gone. Because I'm not trying to do or step into or embody more than what I am meant to. Letting go of so much that wasn't mine to hold or take on, that has made all the difference. Everything I've received is all so much lighter now, even though it's the same quantity and depth. It's doable. It's embodiable. Not a word, but I'm making it one today. My missions and the message are clear. I am meant to anchor Archangel Sophiel's pillar of sovereignty into earth, alongside my 5 fellow soul fragments, to separate from her across our timelines by fulfilling our pieces of her purpose and mission within them. I am meant to spread a message of sovereignty balanced with unity, internally and externally, on an above and below galactic race and individual basis. I am meant to spread a message of all the undistorted truths that I have received, not to carry the weight of them, but to simply share them so others begin asking questions, so others begin releasing the distortions and separations and even limitations in some cases we have all been drowning in, despite our intense and honestly misguided focus on unity consciousness. I am meant to aid in the reconciliation of the divine feminine and masculine, to heal the wound of separation, distortion, and inequality that formed and has expanded forward infinitely in the time since their single shared axis with source at its center split into 2 separate axes and distorted the original blueprint of creation. Something I am being asked to do by tapping into secretly embedded feminine codes in the Earth's grid by the Centaurians and other galactic races that are part of let's call them a rebel group, that sensed some things weren't right with the creation and seeding of Earth and the human race. And they took steps to embed ways to fix that within the Earth's grids and within the DNA of some souls incarnating upon it, as well as by reflecting upon and retelling stories and history that have led us down this continuing path of separation and distortion. Adam and Lilith, Adam and Eve, Perseus and Medusa, Yeshua and Magdalene, and unfortunately, so many, many, many more, including in our current times, because as much as I don't want to get into politics when it comes to what I do and what I share, I can't help but recognize that this same pattern of inequality and vilification of the feminine has been reflected in recent elections, not once, but twice, between the current leader in the United States and female opponents. It's time to fix that. It is. I am meant to help Earth and the human race reclaim the undistorted new blueprint of creation that was always intended for both, but was never seeded into the Earth's grids or into our human design. Fear of being replaced, all kinds of ego about who would get credit for the return to oneness, and probably a long list of other things led those responsible for our creation and seeding to seed Earth and humans with the distorted original blueprint of creation instead, to essentially doom us to repeat their mistakes, to fall into the same patterns of separation and distortion. And I'm being asked to do this not by removing the distorted original blueprint of creation from Earth's grids or from human design, because the damage, the distortion and separation has already been done, but rather by adding the undistorted new blueprint of creation to it as a reflection of the original and undistorted reflection, as two pyramids reflecting each other. By recoding the nodal points along Earth's grids where the distorted original blueprint was seated, and by recoding the human design, our blueprint, as a diamond, with source at its center and the pillars of unity and sovereignty anchoring it on a single vertical axis. Two extremes along the same frequency, the same axis, balanced at source. Just as the divine feminine and the divine masculine were once upon a time before the distortion and separation of their frequency, their axis, into two separate ones. A vertical axis that will create an energetic bridge between the separated axes of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, between above and below, between the galactic races, between individual beings of light and more, a bridge that will surround them, anchor them together in true oneness once again. But this time around, it will be a oneness that allows for both unity and sovereignty to exist at the same time without oneness being lost. And once we achieve this below, it will be reflected above. Because the diamond blueprint that will be created, it's not meant for Earth alone. It is meant for above as well. The purpose of Earth and humans is, and always was, to implement an undistorted new blueprint and reflect it back to above to repair the distorted original one. It is time for us to step up and embody that, to reclaim our purpose as a planet and as a galactic race that has a place with every other one above. And finally, even though I know all of this sounds like a lot already, right? The things I've mentioned so far, they are all, for the most part, on a macro level, on a universe and galactic race level, including the human race. And my role, it extends to the micro level as well, to building and strengthening the foundation of those macro level things on a one-on-one basis and through this podcast and our activations, through the book and lexicon of undistorted truths that I've been being called to work on. What does this look like on a one-on-one basis? It's interesting, actually. Those of you that have caught any of the 6 Degrees of Soul Separation series episodes through this podcast, you're probably going to get a laugh, because since I started sharing and offering them through this podcast and our website back in late 2024, 6 Degrees of Soul Separation has always referred to bringing together the 6 soul aspects, the 6 energetic and consciousness fragments that separated from each galactic monad for incarnation on Earth, to reconverge the 6, unlock each individual's oversoul consciousness, and reawaken the galactic monad from their inert, separated state galactically. It was an offering amongst other offerings, or so I thought. Maybe even was led to believe. I'm looking at you, team. Wouldn't be the first time. Then, this week, as I've been culminating the process of everything that occurred during my time in Shasta and putting together all that I've been receiving this year and beyond, it hit me. And again, the knowing was instantaneous. 6 Degrees of Soul Separation was never meant to be a single offering, never meant to be limited to my reconvergence offering piece. It was meant to be the full modality of all that I am being called to offer. A modality that works to heal the 6 degrees of soul separation, the 6 hurdles we face to healing, separation, and restoring true oneness within ourselves, not just with our monads. And those 6 degrees, those 6 hurdles, they are remembrance, restoring awareness of your galactic half, your soul's origins, fragment, purpose, abilities, and path to Earth. Release, removing and healing blocks to your path to oneness in the form of galactic trauma, karmic imprints, and soul contracts. Reclamation, recovering the pieces of your soul collected galactically between monad separation and Earth incarnation. Realignment, returning your soul to the harmonic resonance of its intended highest timeline or timelines and highest self or selves. For some of us, it's one. For others, it's more than one. Reconnection, rehabilitating your distorted and separated blueprint by initiating your undistorted and united diamond blueprint. And finally, reconvergence, reuniting your 1/6 fragment with the fellow 5 fragments to separate from your galactic monad, unlocking your oversoul consciousness and reawakening your monad above. Together, these 6 degrees are a path to our individual returns to oneness, to unlocking our individual potential and blessings, not only as a human, but as a sovereign galactic being of light, independent of and united with our galactic monad and 5 fellow soul aspects to separate from it. I am excited for these changes, to begin offering one-on-one sessions, to begin working with others on these things, more so than I have been up to this point. And I'm hard at work finishing up adding them all to our website this week, expanding our 4 offering pieces to 6, as I'm being called to do. I'm excited to begin not just offering each of the 6 independently of each other, but to bring all of them together into a mentorship style program that will take others through all 6 over the course of however many months I end up deciding on. And I'm excited to begin transforming all of it into an actual modality, into something others will eventually be able to learn in the future and begin not just offering, but expanding upon the work that is being accomplished through it. The building and strengthening of those macro level things on a scale far larger than I can possibly accomplish alone. Because I'm not meant to do it alone. That's actually getting me a little emotional, sorry. I'm not meant to do it alone. Echoing the thoughts shared with me by Archangel Sophiel, my galactic monad, during my time on Mount Shasta. What I have shared here, while it may have been given to me to share, it is ultimately our purpose and mission as the human race, not just mine. I am not alone in fulfilling it. We are meant to fulfill it together, collectively. And together, it will get done. I kind of want to end this here, a mic drop moment, because that was huge, especially for me personally, and I think that's why I'm getting emotional about it. After spending so many months thinking and feeling like I was being called to do so much alone, feeling so alone, only to realize that I'm not. That Sophiel and my 5 fellow soul aspects to separate from her, they're on the mission too. And again, just now, realizing that even when it comes to my 1/6 piece of her purpose and her role, I am not alone. I am meant to spread what I'm being called to do, not just to help individuals, but to bring on others to spread it as well. Whew. Just take a moment. Let that sink in. I need a moment. We still have the summer themes to get into, and that's literally the main purpose of this episode, to share them and who the guides coming through are. So I'm not going to end this here. That said, though, there is a lot of overlap because once again, as we enter the months of summer, this second half of the year, the overall theme is stepping into what we have been receiving and embodying it. beginning to take embodied action regarding it. And what I'll be sharing throughout these 3 months will very much be a representation of me stepping into and embodying what I have been receiving, sharing it with all of you. So let's go ahead and get into it. For the month of July, we will be returning to the womb of truth with Syrian star mother Isis, a personification of the galactic archangel Razilia. Don't trust me on that pronunciation. I'm totally not shocked that we will be working with a Syrian, or even Isis for that matter, during the 7/7 portal, the Sirius Gateway. Come on, it was a no-brainer. We will be working with her on reconciling the divine feminine and masculine, on restoring the feminine's rightful place beside the masculine, on reclaiming the feminine within us all, regardless of what gender we were born with or consider ourselves, or don't at all. Healing the wound females have been suffering for and through for far too long. And we will definitely be getting into Perseus and Medusa, because that is the story I keep being called back to when I'm receiving about this part of my purpose and mission. Not only that, synchronicities, like moments where I get Medusa or even Perseus in random things. I'm excited, I really am, to finally be getting to really connect in with what that is and see why that specific story has been coming up for me, and then to reflect upon it and retell it. I'm going to tentatively say it will be the week of the 13th and the 20th that we will delve into both in our podcast episode and through accompanying activations. That could change based on the mood of the universe and my team, though, so don't hold me to it. For the month of August, we are going to start initiating the Diamond Blueprint, reseeding and recoding Earth and the human design with Tara. I'm going to go with Green Tara, who is one of the Earth-based second coming of the 13th archangels, like Sophiel is. It should be interesting because I've never actually connected with her deeper yet, or worked with her, or co-created with her on anything. You know, I'm feeling like the shares for this will be a combination of sharing knowledge and truths about the what, why, and how of the Diamond Blueprint when it comes to the Earth's nodal points and human design. Laying the groundwork or foundation for the gridding gatherings moving forward, as well as for our reconnection piece of the 6 degrees of soul separation modality. That kind of makes it sound like August will be all about promoting those things. And while on the surface level, yeah, it does look like that, even to me, I can definitely feel that there's going to be so much more than that. The team is just kind of keeping it hush for now. Maybe that's because I'm still processing the what, how, and why myself, or because the guide and I are new to each other, or it's simply divine timing. Gotta love that divine timing. So we will see how that plays out when August rolls around. And finally, for the month of September, we'll be working on reclaiming sovereignty with Pleiadian star mother Maya, who is the personification of the galactic archangel, Mary. The team totally just told me that this one definitely builds off August and the Diamond Blueprint, yet they won't really tell me what the August stuff is. I love them. I really do. Especially because they keep me on my toes. I need that sometimes. Thankfully, I can, however, give you more when it comes to this one, even though I don't know the more of that one yet. It will be about Earth and the human race reclaiming their sovereignty on a macro level, as a planet and as a galactic race that is not only equal amongst the other galactic races and their homes, other planets, star systems, etc., but that has a vital purpose and role in the return to true oneness of all above and below. What we will be getting into will be big, because when it comes to above, for the most part, we are seen as an experiment, as test runs of what they need to repair their distortion and separation. And when it comes to us humans, for the most part, there's this misperception that we are all going to ascend up some ladder and disappear. I joke all the time with my friend that everyone thinks that we will just be raptured away one by one until there's no one left on planet Earth. That's crazy. When you really stop to think about it, it's crazy. That isn't what is going to happen. Earth as a planet is here to stay. The human race as a galactic race is here to stay. Both will continue long after oneness is returned, long after every galactic monad is reawakened, long after we fulfill our purpose. I'm being very serious when I say that, because as someone who has literally already reconverged with my galactic monad, unlocked my oversoul consciousness, and reawakened that monad above, I can assure you that my soul, my energetic body and consciousness are still very much here on Earth in the same human body they were in before I reconverged. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not being raptured away. My 9D fragment was returned to my monad through our shared oversoul consciousness. A shared oversoul consciousness that allows it to be united with her to give that piece back to her, but still remain sovereign and independent on its own here on Earth in the physical body that I am sitting in right now. I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, we're just going to get into those September episodes right now. Thank you for joining us for our summer update. I hope that you will continue to join us as we move forward with the episodes and activations that will revolve around our summer themes, and for the continuing 6 degrees of soul separation journey, both the series through the podcast and the shift into it becoming the modality our offerings are anchored in. And I also hope that if anything within this update resonates with you or calls to you, that you will take the time to subscribe to our channel and explore our other videos here on YouTube, as well as to explore our website, which is the home of our offerings. www.blueprintreclamationproject.com. I'm still very much in the process of updating all of our offerings to reflect the changes discussed here today as of Saturday, July 5th. But it will be done over the next few days, I promise. Maybe, fingers crossed though. I will see you guys next week. First, for our 7/7 portal activation, which, of course, again, will be led by Isis, since it is the Sirius Gateway. And then later in the week for our next episode, which I believe will be part 10 in my own personal 6 degrees of soul separation journey, where we will finally get into the concept of monad separation, what it was, how it was played out, and more. An episode that was meant to happen last month. Sorry, guys. Shasta was a lot. That's all I can say. Agadish.